A $12,000 job can look like a 40% winner on paper and still keep only 4% once every real cost lands on it. I'm Corey. Here's the 5-bucket system that finds that number and the 20-minute weekly habit that stops it from happening again. Your P&L can say you had a profitable quarter while individual jobs quietly lose money. I'm going to show you how to cost a job honestly. Labor burden, callbacks, overhead, all of it. Plus the weekly 20-minute rhythm that catches margin leaks. And I built a free job profit analyzer so you can run any job through this math in about 2 minutes. Picture year end. The P&L shows a decent net profit. Cash made it through the winter. By every number your accountant hands you, it was a good year. And hiding inside that good year are jobs that lost money. You just can't see which ones because the P&L was never built to tell you. Here's why. Gross margin on a P&L is an average across every job you ran, and averages hide losers. Your best jobs subsidize your worst ones, and the bleeding never shows up as a line item. But you don't sell quarters, you sell jobs, one at a time. If you can't see margin per job, you're pricing blind and steering the company by an average. Job costing is simply making the real number visible, job by job. So what does a job actually cost? 5 buckets. Get all 5 onto the job and the number is honest. Miss one and the margin is fiction. Labor at its true burdened cost. Materials actually used, including the waste. Equipment and subcontractors. Callbacks and warranty work. And a fair share of overhead. Most contractors track materials and wage as well. The other 3 are where the margin leaks. Start with the biggest blind spot. What an hour of labor actually costs you. A tech who earns $30 an hour does not cost you $30. Payroll taxes, workers' comp, insurance, benefits, the truck, the fuel, the phone. For contractors we work with, the true cost typically lands between 1.25 and 1.4 times the wage. That multiplier is your labor burden. Compute it once a year. Everything you pay to keep a tech on the road divided by the hours they actually turn wrenches, not the hours on the schedule. That's your loaded rate. Cost every job with it from now on. Now, the 2 buckets almost nobody puts on the job: callbacks and unbilled change orders. A callback is a job with 0 revenue and full cost. The truck rolls, the tech burns 3 hours, parts go in, and none of it lands on the job that caused it. If callbacks don't get costed back to the original job, your worst work looks exactly like your best work. And unbilled change orders. The scope grew, the price didn't. The extra visit nobody invoiced. The upgrade thrown in to keep the customer happy. Real cost, no revenue attached, and it quietly rewrites the margin on the job. Let me make this concrete with one job, the kind of pattern we see over and over when contractors cost their jobs honestly for the first time. A $12,000 job. Materials came to about $46.50. Payroll wages for the hours on it, about $25.76. Most owners do that math in their head, 12 minus 7, and call it a 40% job. Feels like a winner. Now cost it honestly. Burden the labor at $1.35, $902 the pay stubs never showed. 3 days of trencher rental, $540. The callback 3 weeks later, $410 with parts. True gross profit, $29.22, 24%, not 40, and we're not done. Because the job also carries its share of the office. At 20% overhead, about typical for contractors we work with, that's $2,400. What's left is $522, a 4% job wearing a 40% costume. Nobody did anything wrong on that job. The costs were just invisible, spread across payroll runs, insurance bills, and a callback that landed in a different month. Job costing makes them visible in one place per job. About that overhead share, contractors overcomplicate this step, get frustrated, and quit. Here's the simple version that actually gets used. Add up a year of overhead: rent, office payroll, software, insurance, marketing. Divide by the year's revenue. That's your rate. 18% means every job carries 18% of its revenue. Prefer hours? Divide by field hours instead. Either works. Pick one and stay consistent, because a simple rate you use beats a perfect one you don't. Now, the rhythm that makes all of this stick: not a quarterly project, not a cleanup for the accountant, 20 minutes once a week. Same day every week. Friday morning works. Coffee, one screen, last week's closed jobs. If you're on ServiceTitan, the timesheets and purchase orders are already attached to each job, so you're not hunting for data, you're reviewing it. 5 steps. Pull the closed jobs. Load burdened labor, materials, and equipment against each one. Post callbacks to the job that caused them. Take out overhead. Then flag anything under target and ask why, while people still remember the job. Every flagged job is one of 3 problems. The estimate was wrong, fix the template. Execution slipped, hours, waste, rework, or the price is too low for what the work costs. Different problem, different fix, and you only get to choose the fix if you can see the number. And when the weekly review keeps flagging the same type of job, that's not a bad week anymore. That's a pattern. And a pattern gets one of 4 moves. Reprice it. The old price was set against fiction. Rescope what's included by default. Retrain the crew that runs long. That's coaching, not pricing. Or retire it. Some work isn't worth winning, and honest numbers give you the confidence to walk away. To run this math on your own work, I built a free tool, the Job Profit Analyzer. Enter one job: revenue, hours, wage, materials, subs, equipment, plus 2 overhead numbers. It shows the burden math, which bucket is eating the margin, and an honest verdict: healthy, thin, or underwater, with the fix for each. Take the biggest job you closed last month and run it through. That's the fastest way to find out whether your 40% jobs are really 40%. Links in the description. That's the idea. The back office ServiceTitan never automated, run by AI that learns your shop, and you approve every move. Read the guide, then book a call.